From the shores of Malibu where the waves are pumping, to the Great Wall of China, and back to the streets of Salt Lake City, Utah, where the UFC is coming. We are live. This is It's Time Radio, the show where we talk about what you think about, but may be afraid to voice. Do not worry. We will talk about it for you. We talk about everything on It's Time. No holds barred radio, folks. Sex, drugs, rock and roll, UFC, you name it, we talk about it. I'm here today with my co-host, as I am always every week with my co-host and producer, TJ DeSantis. TJ, how are you?
I'm good, Buff. How are you?
I'm good. Back from Paris. Left Friday. Get this. Left Friday, like at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and back Sunday afternoon. Landed there.
Wow.
I was a day and a half in Paris, and then back.
Just a weekend trip to Paris. That doesn't happen often.
Not even know if we can call it a full weekend, actually. But,
Yeah.
you know, the show was over at midnight, 1 o'clock. The show went really late. And then I had to head off to the airport at 5 in the morning. So got a bite, got a little sleep, boom. Back.
You're sitting up there in
Thank you,
business
Air
class.
France for
I don't feel bad for you at all sitting up there in business class.
No, don't feel bad. I'm not complaining about that. But I'll thank Air France for being actually in my hotel for, let's say, two days of the trip.
Yeah,
One
there
night
you
in a
go.
hotel and 2 nights in Air France. So thank you very much for that. Anyway, all that aside, we'll talk about UFC Paris a little later on in the show. Right now, we have a special guest on the show, a man who's accomplished a lot in no-gi competition, grappling competition, the IBJJF World No-Gi Champion 2017, 2021, IBJJF Pan No-Gi Champion 2019. And
Buffer, the accolades are going to take the whole show to get through.
I know, but we're going to end it right now. October 10th, making a second appearance at the UFC Fight Pass Invitational. Let's bring him on. Let's talk grappling. Let's talk no-gi. Let's talk competition with Renato Canuto. Renato, how are you?
I am good, Bruce. Very pleased to be here.
Thank you. You're 8 days away from your big match. You're grappling PJ Parch at the UFC Pass Invitational. This is the 8th Invitational for UFC Fight Pass in Vegas. You're 1-1. You've won one and lost one against PJ. In 2017, you lost by points, and then you submitted him basically earlier this year with a leg lock, which is always
He got submitted. PJ.
Yeah,
you got
other way
submitted.
around.
I had that
Other
wrong.
way
Sorry
around.
about that.
Yeah. The other way
I don't mean
around,
to bring
the
up
other
the pain.
Hey,
I hope I didn't bring up a bad
Nah, I'm
memory.
okay.
Give it 8 days, and maybe your statement
Yes, sir.
there of Renato
Yes, sir.
submitting
Yes, sir.
PJ will come true.
Yeah, well, you know what? You made up for it a little bit because after losing to Barch at the PGF, you pulled off like a very, very impressive submission, which, you know, is amazing for anybody to pull off, where you hit a flying armbar on Mike John. I've only seen that personally like twice in my career, and I've announced a lot of ADCC, Abu Submission Wrestling Championship tournaments.
Yeah. I've seen
So-
it there before.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. But you're
the flying
known, I mean,
armbar.
as a black belt, you're known for your aggressive style. You're very high energy, you know, and you're very, very competitive. So, with your last match against PJ less than 6 months ago, how excited are you to get into a rematch so soon?
I mean, I am very excited. I told him like 6 months ago when he beat me, I told him backstage, I was like, hey, dude, that was cool. You know, you caught me there. Caught me sleeping a little bit. It was something that he's been doing to people now, but I was kind of unaware of. I kind of fell for his trap. He's being like countered, like locking people where he kind of gives his leg and you go attack. And he's very flexible, so he's just kind of hiding his foot. And when you forget about yours, he jumps on you really quick. So that's kind of how he caught me. This time around, I'm not going to be playing footsie with him anymore. So this time around, I'll be trying to go head-to-head with him. So I told him at the backstage, I was like, hey, I'm going to ask for that match. You know, I'm doing Fight Pass. I asked for that match. Would you be interested in doing it? And he said yes. I was like, okay, cool. Then I'm going to let them know after that. I want us to have a real, you know, a real match on a longer time and a different rule set. I feel like on that one was already 4th day of the week and we were doing 3 matches a day. It was kind of a first time crazy tournament we've done like that. Both of us were pretty tired, but I feel like we were both just trying to hit a submission from anywhere. So he called me. I think on this match we're not going to be like strategical, but we're going to have more time to play the jiu-jitsu game and the wrestling and try to win positions first. So I think
Well, it should work.
more
It should work well for you because your loss against Barch was in the middle of the PGF season.
Yeah.
with the daunting experience that it was, but you had 12 matches in 4 days. And that has to play a big factor in your performance, I would think.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, towards the third day, I would say even everyone's already pretty beaten up. But then on that fourth day, it's just like mentally stressed and now kind of like more understanding where the thing, what is the time that we have. Those 6 minutes is only like so fast, like, and then you have to get the job done. If you don't get a submission, you don't score any points on the
Right.
scoreboard. And we wanted to make the money, so it was like a lot of pressure to try get that done and try and make something happen. So I ended up exposing myself a little more than I would have.
Yeah, no, you should. You know, your style of jiu-jitsu, though, it's, if you don't mind my saying, it's very offensive minded, where you're the one creating the motion.
Yes,
And
sir.
which makes it very highly entertaining. Is that your natural game, or are you just
Yes.
being aggressive because you want to try to entertain the fans watching? Because jiu-jitsu competition can
Yeah.
be, to the untrained eye, cannot be very entertaining. But when you're aggressive, it can be very entertaining,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
I
is
feel
that one of
like
your reasons for that?
yeah, 100%. I feel like I grew up doing it, so that also helps. You know, I grew up watching a lot of cartoons and liking superheroes and watching a lot of UFCs and Pride and all of that. So, you know, you get all the action, and then you go to jiu-jitsu, and sometimes like people win and they didn't do anything even cool at all. You know, so for me it was more like that, like trying to, like growing up, I was always interested in learning all the cool stuff. So I feel like early on, someone that was a big motivator for me to someone I tried to emulate was actually Charles Oliveira when he was still like a 18-year-old blue purple belt fighting in Brazil. He was like he used to live really close by where I'm from, so like he used to hit flying triangles and all these cool moves. This style in general, his way of moving was very cool already in jiu-jitsu. So I feel like early on I was already trying to learn these entertaining moves and these cool flying submissions and things like that. So I never wanted to become boring, even though it costed me a few titles, strategically speaking, I messed up on a few titles and I didn't win like every single time. I always got there and it was very exciting. It just so happened to just start blowing up in a way where we have events happening everywhere and they want jiu-jitsu to make jiu-jitsu exciting. And, I'm that one guy that was always wanting to make jiu-jitsu exciting. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here.
Well, good for you, because that's almost like being a pioneer of the jiu-jitsu sport. It's to make it more exciting for the people to watch. Again, you want to bring in people with the untrained eye, not trained eyes like we have. We know what's going on, so that it's entertaining for them. Another thing that's actually very entertaining in the Fight Pass Invitational coming up is that what people don't probably know is that your wife, you're married to Raquel Canuto. She's also a former MMA fighter. And she's known for being scrappy and brawling style of fighting. And since retiring from MMA competition, she's gone on to herself becoming a BJJ, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion. Makes you quite a formidable couple when you think about it. So
Oh, yeah.
with that being said, you're competing alongside your wife. Obviously, your partner's on and off the mat. Do you like competing at the same event, or does it make it more stressful for you and for her, knowing that each of you have your own competition coming up or past?
I feel like it takes a little bit of the stress away, honestly, because we're both focused on our own kind of like mission in a way. So like we are not just stressing about like is she doing everything right, or like more even so for her, right? She's always taking care of me, of like my diet and my my schedule and this and that. And like, so she can focus on herself a little more, and I have to kind of like keep up with her hard work and dedication. So it's a good, healthy competition between both of us. We're trying to push each other and outwork each other like throughout the camp. And then competition day also, I feel like I like competing when she competes because she usually gets to go first. So I like going out there with her and getting a little bit of the energy and a little bit of that, come on, let's get it. And then after that, like I already got a feel for the surrounding. And when I come back, I already come back locked in. Sometimes you walk out and you're like in the backstage, there's no noise, nothing happening. And then you walk in right to it and it's kind of a shock and you still kind of like, a little bit of sleep somewhat. So usually when she
Right.
competes, I come in ready to
Ye-
go. I'm really excited.
Real quick on that tip with Raquel, Bruce mentioned your partner's on and off the mat. I feel like Raquel should have hit up BMAC for like an assistant coach check, because she was
Yeah.
coaching and helping everybody on your
Yeah.
first form team there at
Oh, yeah.
PGF season 6. But it's really unique to see that, two high level BJJ practitioners motivating one another. When do you guys have to like make times where you stop talking about jiu-jitsu? Because I feel like jiu-jitsu is probably always top of mind for you guys when you're together.
Yeah, it is. It is a hard thing, like to actually. It's just hard for us to be like around people that don't train at all. You're like we're almost like feel out of place. It's like so our whole world, both our worlds are so locked into the fighting world. Like we can talk about MMA and jiu-jitsu, but if you go too much outside of that, even the news or anything going on, like we don't watch TV like that. It's just everything's based off around jiu-jitsu world and grappling, maybe wrestling, MMA, and that's it. But yeah, we do keep a pretty healthy relationship on that base. I feel like we always have like she always has a lot of stuff to tell me, like most women do. Yesterday, the day she has all her stories and things that go on throughout the day. So she's always entertaining me with her stories. But yeah, we do talk a lot about jiu-jitsu, a lot of jiu-jitsu talk for sure.
We mentioned
that being
PGF. Sorry, real quick, Buff. We've talked a lot about PGF, and you're a veteran of this sport, Renato. But the PGF is a lot different. It's that gauntlet. What did you learn about yourself? Through the course of 12 plus matches in season 6. Did you take away anything from that experience that maybe you hadn't otherwise?
Yeah, I did, dude. I mean, I realized that, well, at least on the things that I've been working on lately was trying to fix a few things on my game. Like my game is, of course, very exciting. Right? Like you guys pointed out, I move a lot and do all this fun stuff. But then sometimes if the person's not fighting me back on the same level, it becomes a little bit hard to get a submission because now they're just trying to hide and stay tight. So then I have to get to a more tight game and smash and, control, which Raquel is really good at. So that's kind of what I've been working on, trying to put more pressure into these and that. So I realized on the PGF that I was actually doing that really good. But I also, if I wanted to get to submission a little bit more quicker, I kind of have to have a little bit more of a give where like I'm almost letting the person fight me back a little bit so they can expose themselves a little bit better. I feel like that was one of the things. But mainly, I feel like it just kind of doubled up on my head, like how resilient I can be, and like how durable I can be because it is a lot of matches, it's a lot of mentally and physically. But every day I was coming back, same mindset, ready to win, ready to, to do a little bit better every day. And I feel like, even though I got caught towards the end, I ended up getting caught twice. But it was just, part of the game. I feel like I was finding my mind was a little bit getting out of it because it's just like, get a submission, find a way, quick, get in, get out. But most guys that I fought, I feel like I dominated them pretty well. So I was like, okay, I'm happy that my game, the things I've been working on is working, So that was a lot to take from it. But mainly it was just like after doing that, I was just like, dude, I can do anything, Like if you give me one guy, like right now, I'm gonna have to fight one PJ. I don't have to fight 11 people and they fight PJ.
Right. Well, I mean, my thing is, you mentioned you got caught a couple times. No one's even going to remember that because of the flying armbar. Like that is a highlight that's going to be on your reel for the rest of your career.
Oh yeah. I mean, the flying armbar is just like I feel like most guys already knew it, and I feel like Mike John knew it too. Like me and Mike John fought back at Brown Belt. I remember I was attacking him like we fought at Tough Enough in a grappling event at Tough Enough, like during Tough Enough. And I remember I was like trying to take so many submissions on him. He was so durable. I squeezed his neck all kinds of ways, guillotine, rear naked choke. He wouldn't tap to anything. So when he was reaching right in the beginning, he was the first guy to try and club me on the tournament where he was actually hanging for a second. I was like, okay. And I was already just, ready, locked in. I was very locked in for that match. So very happy that I got to hit that one.
Basically, what you're saying is you're locked in life. Okay.
Yeah.
That's you're locked in life. And, with that being said, the Fight Pass Invitational, it's become one of Jiu-Jitsu's premier events in really a short period of time. Obviously, it's a big deal when Dana White is putting the UFC brand behind it. In your mind, does that make this event even more important for the sport, and how big do you think it's going to get?
Man, I think we have more than potential, right? We have potential, intention, we have the support, everything that could be needed for Jiu-Jitsu to grow. The UFC has it, like the fans, the fighting fans. I think they have the right mindset, the right rule set. Of course, you adapting and making it better and better. But I think one of the best rule sets I've fought so far. I mean, it has everything to blow up. Like you said, if Dana White gets behind it, we seen what he did with the UFC. I know Claudio and Tech on a personal level where like I see how much they invested on it, how much they love jiu-jitsu as well. So there's only like place to go. You know, these are people from jiu-jitsu that love jiu-jitsu and love fighting and want to make it work. And for what I heard, doing pretty good as far as like numbers of spectators and things like that. So
Oh
super
yeah,
excited, man. Super excited about
no, it's
this.
building. And one key question before we go, I like to ask grapplers this, but there's the combat jiu-jitsu world, right? Is that a world that you see yourself entering, and do you see your wife entering that since she's been an MMA fighter?
Man, I don't want to say it would be like 100% out of our minds, but it's not. I don't think I haven't played that way. I haven't went to the gym like, hey, let's smack to each other and see how we like
Right.
it and see how we do it. I feel like partially again taking away like slap the slap event from the UFC. I forgot what is the title is.
Power slap.
Power slap.
Power slap.
Yeah, putting power slap aside, that's pretty scary. Those are scary slaps. That's like I'm gonna knock you out slap. So that even like for me is very cool.
Most
Now
every
when you put
fighter feels
jujitsu,
the same way.
yeah, I feel like when we were putting jujitsu in slap, sometimes it looks very cool. Sometimes it just look like we're like two cats smacking each other. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Now with that
Yeah,
said,
but
there is some guys that do knock each other out, and that makes very entertaining, which is pretty crazy. But I would,
it's
like I said, like
entertaining.
I would do the MMA. I will do MMA. I want to do MMA very soon if I can finally do it. But with that said, I don't know if I want to do this smacking, dude. I feel like smacking is more disrespectful than punching. Punching
Wait,
is a little bit more cool.
combat jiu-jitsu, or you don't want to do power slap?
No, power slap, I wouldn't do it at all. But
Yeah,
but the
no, I
combat,
know that. I mean,
but the combat jiu-jitsu is the one that I said I would consider. But I don't know if I would be too happy with getting slapped. Like the ones that burn and just the fingerprint stay in
Yeah.
your
I know.
face. And like, God damn it,
See,
dude.
At least you
I've
get
called.
Yeah.
defended versus power slap. There's a big difference.
Well,
So
I mean,
Yeah, I
I've
know. Power
called.
slap is just eat it. It's crazy. I would never do that. I wouldn't
I,
do it.
I've called a lot of combat jujitsu, and don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
those palm strikes they definitely can knock you out. But the
Yeah.
no
ones that
question.
don't knock you out, the ones that like just make that slap sound, is almost
Yeah,
like an
loud.
insult to injury for the guy that gets hit. It's like, did you
Yeah.
just slap me? What are you
That's what I'm
doing?
saying. Is that like that bitch slap, right? That's the one
Well,
that,
a lot
that
of,
you
a
don't
lot of
want to
people
get
don't
smacked
realize.
with.
A lot of people don't realize too when you're in a street fight.
Yeah.
Palm strikes are actually a little safer than this because you're
Oh
not
yeah,
going to
then
break
this.
your knuckles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. 100%. I actually tell my students the same thing. I'm like, dude, don't go punching people for no reason. You guys can fake it,
Yeah.
but don't go punching them because like their tooth is gonna cut your hand. You're gonna get an infection. You're gonna
Yeah.
break your hand. Like it happens even, small gloves, puffy gloves, like all the time. So like, yeah, punch on the without gloves, especially, it's a whole
We
other
Yep. It's
crazy.
dangerous.
you
Tell
look
that
at
to the
those
bare knuckle
old.
fighters and everything else.
I know
I
that's crazy.
saw.
Well, real quick, I was going to say, you look at those old Gracie in action tapes, like
Yeah,
they're
they used to smack.
slapping.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
were one of
they're,
the
Yeah,
best.
they're using the palm
Yeah,
strikes.
they used to slap a lot. Yeah, they
yeah,
used to do the what's it called the headphones, like on the
yeah,
mouth and
yep,
stuff,
yep.
smack both
Yeah.
sides and stuff. Those are very entertaining days, man. When everyone like had one style and that's all you got, you have no idea
Oh
what the other
man,
guy's doing. That
the
was when jiu-jitsu, I feel like it made it a statement.
the dark
God,
ages.
all these different
Yeah.
fighting events that are coming out. There was one I saw this week on the internet, and it was an Asian event, but it was I forget the actual name, but it was kicking to the groin. The guys stood across from each
Yeah,
other and just kicked each other in the groin. I don't get it.
yeah. What are we
Yeah, not that
doing?
one. I
Where are we going? I've
was,
seen
yeah,
telephone
they
booth
have some
fights,
crazy
car
stuff.
fighting, groin kicking. It's
Car
like,
fighting,
what's
right
next?
kicking. They have people on armors. I see these guys with armors too and swords. I don't think the swords
Yeah,
are sharp, but they have swords. They're like doing
Yeah, but still, it's gonna
gladiators.
hurt. It's gonna
Yeah,
hurt.
I'm just
crazy.
waiting for like the competition where dudes just kick each other in the shins as hard as they can. You know what I
Oh,
mean? Like, what are
please.
we doing, guys? Like,
Yeah,
that's not a combat sport. You know what I mean?
yeah,
No.
Getting hit in the nuts repeatedly.
yeah,
Like, can you keep
yeah.
going? Like, come on now. What are we
Yeah, I
doing?
seen the
Intimidating
leg
sport.
kick one. The leg kick one is pretty crazy too.
Ugh.
It's like
I don't think
karate
the
guy,
careers will be
Muay
very.
Thai guy. Yeah, it's not too
I don't
long.
think
Yeah,
the careers will
exactly.
be very, very long in
Yeah,
groin kick fighting. That's for sure.
yeah, I don't think so.
Renato, do you want to tell us anything before we let you go? Is there anything special or that you would like to announce
Uh,
aside from your upcoming fight?
Nothing special. Just whoever's out there listening, make sure you guys tune in October 10th, UFC Fight Pass. Me and Raquel are gonna be fighting. We're both very well trained, feeling really good. And we're both going to be 100% looking for a submission this time around. We got 15 minutes to get it done, and I think we'll be done. So, tune in. The last time we got to hit a quick submission, so make sure you guys don't blink this time. I have some stuff up my sleeve.
And let me
All right,
say,
well,
you
I
know,
wish you all the best, Renato.
you and Raquel being based in Las Vegas, the apex is definitely Canuto
Yes, sir.
country,
Yeah.
and it gets really
Yeah.
loud, and it's going to be
He
exciting.
does.
Last question, you know, you mentioned the 6-minute match with PGF. It's a whole different thing. How different is this match going to look simply just because you have more time to work?
I mean, PJ is a great athlete, so it's hard to say like I'm gonna get him tired. But we're both gonna get pretty tired, and I think he gets tired before I do get tired. So that's part of it. I feel like if we go the extent of like nearly 15 minutes, eventually I'll break him and try to crack him the whole time. Hopefully, you know, I don't eat my words, but I feel like pretty good. I feel my cardio always hold up pretty good and mentality. So this time around, I'm gonna make him have to find my rhythm. So it should be entertaining.
I can't
Find
wait
it,
for you
make it
to
happen and win, Renato.
I can't wait for you to make that walk and do the stomp on the stage that we saw over and over again at PGF. You're
Yes,
one of the
sir.
most marketable guys, Renato, in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and it's
Thanks so
really
much,
exciting to see you grow on the stage.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man. Thank you guys very much for saying that. Thank you.
Obrigado, Renato. Thank you so
Obrigado. It
much.
was a pleasure being here with you guys. You guys are a good one. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Thank you. Good luck to you, my friend. Go out and get him.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I've had an absolute blast recording your championship intros on audio and also on video. And for those of you that didn't know, the videos can be done special exactly the way you like them, because these are green screens and we can do them with a scene behind me. Do you want a fighting scene? Do you want a beach scene? Do you want a race car scene? Any scene you want, we can give it to you. It's your theme and my pleasure. Just write our offices and we will answer you with the exact fee involved and how it'll get done. So here we are, and now it's time, and it's your choice. Cheers! All right, let's move on, TJ. Let's go on. First off, we'll talk a little UFC real quick. UFC Paris, the energy there was amazing. The event was sold out. The French love their UFC. Renato Moicano and Benoit Denis, Saint-Denis. Going at it. They stopped that fight properly. Benoit could not see properly. I thought the doctor and the referee made the right decision, ending it in the second round. I think the end of the second round.
Yeah.
Coming out for the third. I think Renato Moicano is going to have a championship belt around him at some time in the near future.
It's crazy
Fight
because
interviews, which I'm not crazy about the F-bombs, but what he says, he's very thought out in what he says.
Yeah.
And he captured the French crowd with his post-fight interviews. So he's not just a star in the making, he's a star now, but he's going to gain status more and more and more.
Well, it's crazy to me because he reminds me of Chael Sonnen a little bit in the sense that Chael had this whole career where he didn't talk much and then flipped the switch and became, a superstar. Moicano's been in the UFC for so long, and people forget his run, at 145 pounds, and now he's doing big things, up the weight, and it's like he's figured it out. And sometimes it takes a little bit longer for athletes to step outside of their comfort zone, and I think that Moicano has done that. And now we're seeing a guy who's not only comfortable in the spotlight, he craves the spotlight, and he shines, and he's shining inside and outside of the octagon.
Right. No, he is. No, he's an up and coming star. I call him a star now because he's already headlined at a major event, so we'll call him a star. Nasruddin and Brendan Allen's fight caught him with that knee. Brutal.
Yeah.
Good, hell of a fight up until that point. Anyway, overall, really solid event. Really enjoyed the event. And then now we're going on to the big event this weekend, which of course is in Salt Lake City, UFC 307. Alex Pereira, Khalil Roundtree Jr., Roundtree ranked number 8. Pereira being the devastating puncher and fighter that he is. And Khalil, this is actually a real good test for Alex. Looking forward to that, but I'm also really looking forward to Raquel Pennington and Juliana Pena.
Oh yeah,
So,
I mean, Rocky is this underdog story. You know, I think a lot of people kind of wrote off her championship aspirations when she came up short to Amanda Nunes, and you know, obviously she captured a title earlier this year. Now it's time to defend it, and she's a favorite. But man, when you look at Pena, who, you know, granted the loss was avenged by Nunes, you know, she pulled off one of the biggest upsets in UFC history. And I'm very excited to see you know, how that match plays out, and it's going to be a good one.
yep, it will be a good one. Jose Aldo coming back, one of the longest fighters in the history of the UFC, still doing great against Mario Batista. Kayla Harrison, we all like seeing Kayla step into the octagon, fighting very tough Ketlin Vieira, number 2 ranked. Kayla now ranked number 3, so that's going to be a real go for it all.
That's
Holland,
a
Stephen
title eliminator, if you will. Kayla
I
Harrison,
think so.
you know, a lot of people believe that, you know, if she wins, she'll be next in line for a title, and she should be. She's, you know, a highly accomplished fighter prior to coming into the UFC. The question was for a long time, can she make the weight? And she can. You know, she fought in PFL at 155 pounds, and now, you know, she's down at 135 in the UFC, and she had a hell of a, you know, impressive debut, and I got a feeling that you know, with a win, she's going to probably be brought into the octagon to stare down the winner between Pennington and Pena.
I agree. I think it's what it all lined up for. It's probably one of the reasons it's booked in the way it's booked. Kevin Holland's fighting. Stephen Thompson's back against Joaquin Buckley.
That's going to be a great
really
fight.
solid show. Even on the undercard, the first fight's Court McGee and Tim Means, and Carlos Esparza and Tisha Pennington. Raquel.
Yeah,
Speaking of husband and wife, we have wife and wife.
Yeah,
I think it's
there's
the
a
first
couple
time
right
we've
there.
had wife and wife fight on a card.
Yeah, that sounds right. I think maybe Nina and Amanda fought on the same card in the past.
Take that back. Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, Renato talked about it too. The family that fights together, I think, stays together, because like, what better way to get through some of the harder, you know, parts of training camps and all that when you have a partner who does the exact same thing and potentially is doing the exact same thing at the same time. Either it's the greatest thing ever or the worst thing ever. I don't know.
Well, it probably helps in the weight cut and helps in many different ways. I'd say it's more of a positive than a negative to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Anyway, the world of fighting is very busy this week, last week, this weekend, so all good. I will talk about it next week, but I'm being inducted into, and I already told you that, the International Sports Hall of Fame, October 12th in Las Vegas.
Congrats.
Same day pardon me?
I say congrats.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. It's an honor to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. I know there's many Hall of Fames. It's actually a very highly respected one. And it's definitely an honor, along with the other people, including Misha Tate, who's going to be inducted.
Also. I just go ahead.
Jim Plunkett, the old Raiders quarterback, Jim Plunkett,
Okay.
is being inducted too.
I'm just wondering when they're going to put you in the UFC Hall of Fame.
Not my call, but when I'm called, I'll say thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll see.
I look forward to that day.
I appreciate that, TJ. I do too, of course. Okay,
We got sad news, and I don't know if you're gonna get to it now. I prefer, I guess, you get to it now rather than at the end. But we had a former It's Time guest pass away.
Pete Rose, the legendary baseball player, personality, the whole 9 yards.
One of my favorite interviews we've ever done on this program.
Yeah, and we became friends after that. I was on his podcast. I'd see him in Las Vegas. Quite the man. The all-time hit king in baseball. Record still stands.
Such a down-to-earth guy, too.
Down-to-earth, aggressive, tough, the whole bit. Anyway, he passed away, they say, due to heart disease, issues with his heart. So my sincere best wishes and condolences go out to his family and his friends. Everybody's enamored of Pete Rose. For years, he's been called to be in the Hall of Fame. But obviously, due to the controversy over his gambling in baseball, which has prevented him from being in the Hall of Fame, I would say that there's probably going to be a change of heart here, and he will be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
It's sad though. It's bittersweet, Buff, because
Bittersweet.
he's not here to experience it. And there's, I mean, if you just look at his on-field work, there's nobody more deserving that's not in than Pete Rose.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
Like, 4,000 hits. No one's ever going to come close to that.
I know. Nobody has.
Yeah.
And will they ever?
I don't think they will. No. I mean, here's the thing. I understand like level of competition is a thing too. With the pitchers and how they throw today, it's hard to get to the 3,000 hit mark, but let alone 4,000. I don't see anybody in the modern era coming close to that.
I don't either. And when we talk about, and again, Pete Rose, a pleasure to know you, call you a friend. My sincere condolences and best wishes go out. A legend
Yeah.
in the sport of baseball and in life, for sure. Speaking of baseball, when we talk about hits, it's always hard to talk about somebody passing and then go on to something else. But
I know.
please excuse me, and we're going to go on. Shohei Ohtani, his 50th home run ball. We talk about a guy getting a lot of hits. I don't know if he's remembered the 53, 54 club by now, but the 50th home run ball that was caught by a fan, a little controversy because a 16-year-old boy claimed that it was taken out of his hands. He was suing to stop the auction going on. But that, aside from that, the man that caught it was offered $300,000 by the Dodgers for the ball, which at the time was valued at $500,000 by people who make those evaluations, is now on the auction block at Golden Auction.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the current bid is, TJ?
Oh, I think we're going to go close to seven figures if it's not there.
Current bids are 1.2 million.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's interesting. You mentioned the Dodgers offering money. Clubs will often try to facilitate an exchange for balls and things like that get hit out that are historic. I don't recall another situation where a team actually just straight up offered money. That might be the first time they've offered money. Normally it's like, we'll give you season tickets for next year, or we'll let you meet Shohei and he'll sign a jersey. To straight up just say $300,000, that's rare, but I think we're seeing why. I mean, if the bid's at 1.2, clearly this is an exceptional, extraordinary sort of bit of memorabilia.
It is, and sports memorabilia is just going through the roof. I mean, there's a Stephen Curry card. Now, these are modern day cards versus what old cards go for.
Right.
But in 2021, a Stephen Curry autographed National Treasures logo man rookie card. There's so many cards out there, I can't keep track of them these days.
Yeah.
That sold for $5.9 million.
But it's one of one. You know what I mean?
But it's unbelievable. I mean, even the Jordan memorabilia is still selling off the hook, but these modern day cards, it's staggering.
It's crazy to me that they can make that price point, because that's what they're doing. They're making a single individual collector item, and the market dictates the value. But to just be able to print one card and have it be millions of dollars in value, that's impressive.
It's impressive. Then you go into the old thing, the NFTs, which neither one of us was enamored of. Just an example of, you want to collect properly, make sure you do your homework. Just another example of that, aside from Logan Paul paying over $1 million or millions for one that was worth like $20,000 now.
Yeah, they're not real, Buff.
They're not real. If you can't hold it in your hand, it's not a collectible.
Right.
I'm sorry, that's just my attitude.
If I can't share it with you, what did I buy?
There was another story of a guy that sold an invisible sculpture or painting. Invisible.
Oh, I have it right here.
Yeah,
see it?
And the guy paid ridiculous money, hundreds of thousands, not $1 million for it. But getting away from that, Justin Bieber paid $1.3 million for, remember the Bored Ape? That was a very popular NFT.
Yeah.
Now it's worth only around $59,000 by mid 2023. But you know what? Who the hell's even going to buy it now? Even for that.
Again, what do you do with
forget
it?
about it.
I mean, you put it in a digital picture frame. I don't even know if you can do that. I never understood it. I'm not claiming to be hip and with the times, but I'm sorry, I'm with you, Buff. If I'm going to spend tens of thousands of dollars on anything, I want to be able to put it on a shelf.
Yeah. Here's an interesting thing for you getting over this. The entire 2023-2024 NBA combined payroll is 4.9 million, 4.9 billion, right?
Wow.
In 2023, OnlyFans content creators, 6.6 billion.
I mean, again, the market dictates the value. And we've seen time and time again that people in this world are willing to pay for things that maybe you and I wouldn't necessarily be willing to pay for.
Yep, exactly. Now, they've also, in Japan, they've developed a AI technology where it's an MRI machine. It can actually read your dreams and then show them to you like a movie.
How? I don't believe that.
I'm just telling you that's what it is.
I don't believe that.
Here's one that you won't believe. You ready for this?
Yeah.
The Hawktaw girl. The Hawktaw girl, right?
Haktua. Yeah.
Hawktua.
Spit on that thing.
Haley Welch, okay?
Yeah.
All credit to her. Go grab the money, do what you're doing, get it going. She started a podcast on Spotify.
Yeah.
It's now the third most watched popular podcast on Spotify behind Joe Rogan and Tucker Carlson.
I mean, it'll fade, but good for her. I mean, here's the thing.
I don't mean to say that like I want her to fail. It's just got, it's an out of the gate hit is what it is.
She seems really down to earth. I mean, she's had a lot of opportunities to do things that
fans and that other stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And she's kind of stayed true to who she is. Like, I understand what she said in that interview was like sexual in nature, but she doesn't really seem to be that sort of out there, outlandish type of personality. And I appreciate that. She's running with the whole bit. Andy Warhol said everyone gets their 15 minutes of fame. It might be more than 15 minutes for her. And, I hope for her sake it is. But I think she's doing a good job at not portraying an image that isn't necessarily who she is.
Right. And for that, I give her credit. She's got some people behind her, marketing her, putting her out there, and she's doing her thing. So good for her. I have no negativity to say about it. I'm still
because a podcast. We're doing it right now, Buff. Like, it's going to be interesting to see if her personality carries over to that, because it's one thing to have a clever line in an interview. It's another thing to be interesting enough to get people to tune in week after week to be interested in what you have to say.
Listen, I'd like to have her on the podcast for, fun and giggles, but I guarantee you that the list of people asking her to be on their podcast is probably a mile long.
Oh, I mean, she's super busy.
Super, and good.
I wonder how long that lasts, though. You know what I mean? Like, we're in a what have you done for me lately sort of world, and you do something on a Monday, and sometimes people forget by a Friday.
In her case, though, TJ, she plays the game right. She keeps that down to her personality.
Yeah.
She could actually have a long career doing something.
I hope she does.
Show,
I mean,
whatever.
we live in a great country where
all the best. I have nothing negative to say. I'm not crazy about the Hawktua thing or whatever. It's just another class factor, what goes on.
I mean, she was drunk in the streets of Nashville. You know what I mean? I think it's a great thing, though, that we live in a country where you can go out just on a Friday or Saturday night and something happens to where your whole life can change. It's the land of opportunity.
One line of dialogue changed the life, and there it is, which means a lot of people are going to be out there trying to do the same thing as they always are.
Right.
All right, with that being said, we get to the NFL. Very hard to pick games during these first 4 or 5 weeks. We come up to week 5 now.
Buff, I'm starting to think I need to be a Vikings fan.
Yeah, you should be. And I'm still going to stay Eagles fan, even though they are not shining. I'm wondering how the quarterback Hurt is working with the overall system. But, tragically enough, McCaffrey and the San Francisco 49ers has crazy Achilles tendonitis in both feet, which could be career ending,
Really?
Yeah. Achilles tendonitis.
How do you battle that? Is that a thing that you can overcome by stretching?
I don't know.
Because I assume it's like an inflammation type thing, right?
Pardon me?
I assume it's like an inflammation type of thing.
I can't make a medical comment, not being a doctor. I just know that that's
But
what
like
I've read,
tendinitis in general, I believe, is like an inflammation. It's a swelling.
Yeah.
It's not like a tear. You know what I mean? It's
I
hard to
think he's
think,
getting
though,
major
that,
stem cell therapy and stuff right now for it.
yeah, I mean,
It could
and
take 3 months. He's basically, I don't think we're going to see him this season, and hopefully he gets through it and comes back next season. And I hope
he's the
it's not
best running back in the
career-ending.
league. When he's healthy,
know,
he's the
he's amazing.
best one to do it.
He's amazing. Well, San Francisco shined without him. They're doing well. The Raiders came back. They won another game. And you know what? I can't really call games right now. I think if I was going to say anything, always go with Kansas City, no matter what the spread. But just remember, for those of you betting, my key advice, if it's at -3 or +3, -7 +7, -10 +10, -14 +14, buy it up or down half a point. It'll make all the difference in the world. And what I mean by that real quick is if it's -7, you're taking the favorite, pay the extra vig to the legal place you're betting through, and cut it down to 6.5 so they win by a touchdown. If you take the underdog and it's +7, buy it up to 7.5, which makes a 2-point score for you to lose your bet. That way you have a better chance.
It's the difference between winning or losing, so it's definitely worth it.
It's one of the key advice I can give. It's almost like if you play blackjack, I would tell you if you're playing on a shoe deck, which is, 4 or more decks usually, if you have 16, surrender. Don't take the hit.
Well, depending on what the dealer's showing.
Yeah, well, if the dealer has a 4, 5, or 6, or even
You
scan
7, 8,
if they have 4,
9,
5,
or 10.
6.
Yeah.
If they have a 9 or 10 or an ace, surrender the card.
Yeah, I'm
It's going to
with
take
you
some
on that.
explaining to do that for people that don't visually see what I'm talking about. But for those of you blackjack players out that know what I'm talking about, over the
Dealer
course of an
shows a
hour
7
play or
and you
2
got
hours,
16.
surrender really helps.
Yeah, dealer shows a 7, you got a 16. I think your chances of winning are less than 30%, something like that. So if you can surrender half your bet, do it.
Exactly. All right. Listen, all I can comment on what's going on in the Middle East right now, which is just scary. I just hope this whole thing we get to some level of peace with this. I don't want to go into what's happening. I think we all know over the news, the bombing that's gone on. It's just horrific. And I just pray that
we're going the wrong direction, Buff.
Pardon me?
We're going the wrong direction.
Meaning?
Geopolitically, it seems like war seems to be the default rather than diplomacy, and it's a bummer.
It's a shame. And now they're sending over more U.S.-based troops. They're being told to prepare to deploy to the Middle East. So I'm just hoping for the best.
Yeah.
Love to see a ceasefire. Whatever can do. I just don't want to see this escalate higher than it is. And that's really all I can say about that. And also, I want to wish everybody the best possible on this aftermath of Hurricane Helene, with the missing people that are down there, the deaths that have occurred, supposedly the worst storm in I don't know what I read, 20 or 100 years, whatever.
Yeah.
The world's in a really interesting state right now, scary state. But my best wishes go out to everybody down there that's involved in that, situation.
What was interesting to me, I saw a news story that the electric vehicles out there,
I saw that.
They're finding them melted essentially because they'll flood and then there's an electrical short and then they just ignite.
One blew up and ignited. It caused the house to burn down. Is what I saw.
Terrible.
Terrible. All right. Ending on good news. If there is such, Tulsa King started on Paramount Plus. Second season of Sylvester Stallone series, Tulsa King. I
haven't watched the first season. Was it good?
If you haven't watched it, watch the first season, binge on it, go into the second season. It's one of the highest rated shows on TV right now on cable, on these apps, shall we say, if not Paramount Plus's highest app. Very entertaining. If you're a Stallone fan, there's no way you're not going to enjoy it. So that's my recommendation for the week.
I feel like television has surpassed film now as like the premier sort of content. Like it used to be, like if you were a movie actor, it was better than being a TV actor. TV was sort of the second tier of entertainment. And now I feel like these television series are so well written that I prefer episodical television series over one-off films.
Well, you've got major stars doing it, right?
Yeah.
Stallone, you name it. They're all out there.
Mm.
Harrison Ford.
Yep.
They're all dipping into it. So, hey, you know what? Whatever gives you entertainment, whatever you enjoy, watch. There's so much; it's impossible to see it all. There's so many channels, so many shows, so many this, so many that. But enjoy. It's all about being entertained.
I just like the series, Buff, because I can binge it on a plane. You know, when I'm flying from L.A. to New York, it's good to know I got 6 episodes.
Yeah, I watched the series on the plane from Paris. I think it's called Barry.
The Hitman show.
The Hitman series with I forget his name from SNL.
Is it Bill Hader?
Bill Hader.
Yeah.
It's excellent. It's excellent. I watched about 5
really
episodes, and I thought, wow, this is really entertaining. And there's like 8.
It's a dry, dark humor, but it's good.
Dry, dark humor, but it's very, very good. Very good. All right, TJ, let everybody know what's up. Time to go.
Yeah, no. So this weekend, obviously, big UFC in Salt Lake City. I'll be doing a post show coming up here on Saturday night, immediately following the pay-per-view. Going to be live on the UFC Fight Pass YouTube and Facebook with Jason Anik. We're going to recap the card that sees Alex Pereira defend his light heavyweight championship against Khalil Roundtree.
Very cool. And I will be in Salt Lake City. I will see you all from the Octagon. I have fighters making appearances in Salt Lake City at Rancho Market on Friday for It's Time Energy, which is being released in Salt Lake City this week.
Where can I get it? Can I get it on Amazon right now? How do I get some?
Oh, next week. I make that announcement. It's going to be going on Amazon next week. So
I need it, Buff. You've been teasing me for like 5 years.
COVID put us back, like it put everybody back.
I'm not mad at you. I want it. I want it now.
I will tell you, the La Bonita is where we put it out there. It is selling extremely well, very well taken. So
good for you.
Very excited. Get ready. It's Time Energy. Follow me on Instagram at Bruce Buffer UFC. You'll see plenty of news about it, along with, of course, the It's Time Cologne, which is here's my shill. It's Time Cologne. Yay. Amazon. Top seller. And we can't always forget about Puncher's Chance Bourbon.
Of course.
So, my 3 little special babies. All good. All right. Enough shilling for me. But you know what? Good products are good products. What can we say?
Hey, you believe in what you're pushing. That's good.
Product of the product. That's all I can tell you. All right, everybody. I'll see you from the Octagon, Salt Lake City, UFC 307. I'll be roaring on Saturday, heading out on Friday. Thank God it's only a 2.5-hour flight versus what I just did last weekend.
Buff, you're going to blink and it's going to be over compared to what you've just done.
I know. Okay, everybody, have a great week. TJ, you too. Have a great week. We'll see you next week. We'll be back with another solid guest with It's Time Radio. And everybody set your goals. Write them down. So when you step on that yellow brick road to your future of success, be the best you can be. Because if you perform the best you can be, whether you're number 1 champion, number 10, or whatever, be proud of yourself because then you're winning. Just be the best. Be a role model to your sphere of influence. Be a class act. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week. Have a great weekend. Buffer out. Thanks, TJ.